This is
Okay.
Podathon 2024. We are Kerwin and Keith of Father Son Galaxy. We have the pleasure of welcoming a true icon of the stage and screen, Mr. Billy Dee Williams. With a career spanning decades, Williams have left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry. His film and TV credits include classics like Brian's Song, Lady Sings the Blues, Mahogany, and Batman. He is perhaps best known for his portrayal of the smooth-talking businessman Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Beyond acting, Mr. Williams is also an accomplished painter and author with his memoir, What Have We Here? Portraits of a Life, offering insight into his remarkable journey. Welcome, Mr. Billy Dee Williams.
Yeah, hi. How's everybody?
Thank you so much. This is truly an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes. So you were born and raised in Harlem. Your journey into acting began with your Broadway debut at a very young age. What was it like stepping onto the Broadway stage as a child?
I just say, this reminds me of me and my son Corey when he was his age.
Thank you.
Having great discussions, I bet. Anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying.
You were born and raised in Harlem. Your journey into acting began with your Broadway debut at a very young age. What was it like stepping onto the Broadway stage as a child?
Well, when I was 6.5 years old, and my mommy got me involved in the show business. She was working in New York City at the Lyceum Theater, the old Lyceum Theater. She was working for Ben Boyer and Max Gordon. And they were doing a musical, and they knew that she had a little boy who was like 6, 7 years old. And they had me come and audition. And I went, so she took me down to the audition, and they had me walk across stage 1 time, 2 times. And I was so enamored with so smitten by the whole idea of being on this big stage. I wanted to do it the 3rd time. And they said, Billy, that's okay. You don't have to do it the 3rd time. Well, I decided that I had to do it the 3rd time. So I started crying if I couldn't do it. So I always say I cried my way into show business. Yeah. But anyway, that's how I got my first experience in it was a musical called The Firebrand of Florence. It was written by a man by the name of Music. It was written by Kurt Weill. Kurt Weill was he wrote Three Penny Opera with Bertolt Brecht. At that time, they were from Germany, and they escaped Nazism back in those years. But anyway, I was on the stage with him, with his music, The Firebrand of Florence, and with his wife, Lade Lenya. And that's how it all began for me. And the thing I had to do were 2 little chants. And 1 chant was make way for the Duchess, for her grace the Duchess. Make way for the Duchess, for her regal Duchess. And then I had to come back on stage the 2nd time with a message from the Duchess. Message from the Duchess, from her grace the Duchess. Message from the Duchess, from her regal Duchess. And that's how I got started. But I always figured, I never really looked for show business. I always figured that I was somehow destined for it.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Art has been a significant part of your life. How do you balance acting, painting, and writing? And how do they inform who you are as an artist?
Oh, okay. Well, my whole life revolved. I'm not a tough guy. I've never been a thug. My whole life has revolved around the arts. And I don't ever remember never being involved some ways, either in always with painting and drawing. My sister and I had a twin sister who was a very fine artist, and so that's all. It was always been very much a part of my life. As far as theater is concerned, that came a little bit later, but that's became very much a part of my life. But my life is, as I said, has always revolved around uh, creativity, and so I've been really fortunate that way. And I was fortunate enough to have parents who encouraged my sister and I in towards those kinds of endeavors.
You received critical acclaim for Brian's song. You also got an Emmy nomination. How did that role of playing Gail Sayers change your career and your life?
Well, certainly at that time, uh, interestingly enough, when I got the role, Lou Gossett was supposed to play Gail Sayers, but he was playing basketball on a weekend and injured himself, so he couldn't do he couldn't do the job. So they called me in out of desperation, and I got the job. Now again, I always felt that was a one of those situations that was meant to be. At that time, and this story is about an athlete dying from cancer. My father was dying from cancer at that time. So all of these events, event, and plus meeting Jimmy Kahn, and we had this great chemistry with each other. The the coupling of those events drew me into. It served to well, as a result of those events, it all worked for me getting the job. So it was I always regard that experience as an act of love. It was one of those perfect moments that every now and again in your life you find yourself confronted with. The director, Buzz Kulick, was part of that experience, which was an extraordinarily rewarding experience. So, getting a nomination, both of us got a nomination for the characters that we did. We should have received the awards, but because they couldn't decide whether to give it to me or give it to Jimmy, they decided to give it to an English actor, I forget his name, who did he did the Six Wives of Henry VIII. So we lost out on it. We shouldn't have. We should have been. They should have given both of us the Emmys because we created such a huge impact with Brian's song. So anyway, as I always say, you win some and you lose some.
Speaking of winning, I want to talk about your role as Lando Calrissian. Now, according to your book, I understand that you didn't have to audition for that role, that George Lucas wanted you to play Lando. Do you know why he wanted you to be the actor, to play Lando Calrissian, and what did you bring to the role? Why was that role important for you to play?
Well, I'm very charming.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I don't know. I had a persona that was, you know, well, it was the charm, the good looks, and all that good stuff that really contributed to me playing Lando. Lando is well. First of all, when I heard the name Calrissian, I I thought, wow, that's interesting because Calrissian is an Armenian name. So I said, let me see what I can do with that. I played with that, and then of course when I got the cape, I mean that's solidified the whole thing. And so I decided to make this character into a really bigger than life character, devoid of the whole. Uh, I didn't want to present ethnicity. I wanted to just present an individual, which is what I try to do with all of the characters I play. You know, I don't like getting locked into trying to hold on to one perspective as opposed to another perspective. I think everything for me, from my perspective, it's all about nuance. It's all about all of the gray area to play with, especially if you're being creative and in order to be innovative for me, I have to embrace everything that's thrown my way to play with, you know, rather than get into the politics of what I'm doing or being, or being asked to do.
The entertainment industry has evolved significantly throughout your career. How do you perceive these shifts, and what further improvements are necessary?
Well, you got AI now, and I think that's going to take over everything. But no, listen, it's a progression, like any situation from generation to generation uh, as we evolve. I mean, certainly there are always going to be the changes. Um, I don't know. You know, if you're talking about it in terms of black actors and things like that, there are a lot more people working today than when I came along. Uh, so, which is a good thing. But I think also it allows the more success, it allows people to start thinking in much broader terms about who they are, what they are, and how they fit in. So I see a lot of that beginning to happen.
And reflecting on your professional and personal journey, what legacy do you want to leave behind for those who are coming up behind you? What motivates you to cultivate such a legacy?
Yeah, that I think from my perspective, I mean, I've always tried to lead an eclectic life. I mean, I'm always incorporating, including, never rejecting, uh, always embracing, and using it to come up with new ideas, new innovative ideas. So uh, uh, I I can't live my life being pissed off all the time, and I think that's one thing that I see with a lot of people. They spend more time and energy being pissed off instead of really just keeping the five senses working and moving and embracing and coming up with new ideas. For me, it's about coming up with new ideas, using every everything, all my tools, and everything that I witness with my hearing sense, seeing sense, smelling sense, tasting sense, touching sense, uh, to, allowing all those my senses to be alert, so that I can always be in a position where I can take all of these things that I'm witnessing and using them in some wonderful, new, creative way. And even at my age, I'm 87 years old now. I'm still a little kid. I'm still like this little kid, wanting to know, you know, wanting to embrace and see where I can go with it.
In addition to your movie career, you've made notable appearances on television and voice acting roles. How do you approach working in different mediums, and what do you enjoy most?
I don't know. Yeah, I do all of it, and I enjoy all of it. I it's as simple as that. I just embrace it, enjoy it, and always I always look at it as an opportunity to see what I can bring.
What do you consider the role that you're uh, feel as your best work? You want people to remember you by a particular role. What that be? What would that be?
Well, of the roles that people know about, certainly Brian's song, Gail Sayers, certainly the movies I've done, I did with Diana Ross. Um, I think I gained a reputation for being a romantic leading man, and that's something I always wanted to be when I was a kid growing up. Um, I I it, I think I created something that was never a little brown skinned boy like me never it was never created, never really happened on the level that it happened with me. So I'm very happy about bringing that aspect into the fold. Um,
As,
I'm a romantic. I'm a romantic person. I like romance. You know.
as you continue to inspire audiences around the world, what projects or passions are you most excited about pursuing in the future?
Well, at this stage, I'm not looking forward to doing too much. I've done just about everything you can possibly do. I don't know. I leave it. I'm open. And I'll see where it all takes me and what comes my way. And if I still have the energy to pursue it, I'll do it. But at this stage in my life, I'm, I just want to relax and give it to you, young kids. You do it. You got all the energy. Even you.
Yeah.
Even
Okay, right. Even me, right? Okay.
listen. I
Yeah.
got a how old are you? I mean, I got a 60-year-old son. I'm sure you're nowhere near that.
Wow. No,
But
not
even
yet.
Corey,
No.
even at 60, he's always open to new ideas and always looking forward to seeing where the possibilities.
If you had the opportunity to play Lando again, would you take it?
Absolutely. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Great character. And what's good about good characters like that is that even though you bring a lot of a certain vulnerability and a certain charm to it, there was something dubious about the character, and that's always good when you're developing a character. I think you're never quite sure what that character is going to do, but but always ends up having a heroic facade. I like heroes.
You know, I'd really love to see Lando in his own show sometime soon.
Well,
That would
maybe
be
you
nice.
do.
Maybe one day you'll write it.
I actually have some ideas.
Well, that's something. Put them down.
Wonderful.
You never know.
You never know. I want to share something with you. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 12, and the first film I saw was The Empire Strikes Back. And I'm, middle-aged. Since then, I've seen The Empire Strikes Back about 85 times.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a good
Favorite
movie.
Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
It's a great movie.
it is. And it's not only my favorite Star Wars movie, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest films ever made. So I never in my wildest dreams would I ever thought I would sit down and speak to Billy Dee Williams. So this is truly an honor to say to you, thank you, from that 12-year-old little boy and me, seeing you up on the screen. Thank you so much for the joy you brought me. And you left a legacy. You're leaving a legacy that I'm passing down to my son. So you're the reason why that movie will endure. And, there will always be a love for Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back.
And Lando.
And Lando. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. This is a special episode of Father-Son Galaxy. We are raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Thank you for watching us on this Podathon 2024 special edition. Until next time, take care, and we will see you again.
Hey, the very best to you.
Thank you so much. All the best to you, sir.
May the force be with you.
Stay well. Chandelier.